Boom. What is good? What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Muthana, and welcome to a live edition of Good Friends Better Rivals. We are at a special Monday night because we
We're
could
back
not
on Monday.
back on Monday, but it's a one time only thing because of schedules. Um, so I want everyone to enjoy it because we have a special mock draft Monday today. Me and Caleb will be putting on our GM hats, and we will become Joe Shane. He will become Jerry Jones,
I don't
and we
have
will
a GM
draft.
hat. I only have these hats.
You know what I
I
meant?
have a
I so
fan
shit.
hat. I
So
have a fan
specific.
hat. I don't have a GM hat.
Oh my god, you always gotta be so specific, don't you? Gotta be very
I
specific,
just
don't
don't know
you?
what you're talking about. GM hat. Like, do GMs wear a hat?
In the metaphorical sense, dummy. Okay.
Okay. Oh.
All right. But before we get into that, we're gonna like we always do, guys, on this show. We're gonna talk about the other football leagues. Unfortunately, it was the Eid this week, so I could not watch the football. But I got my main man Caleb, who has watched some XFL, has watched some USFL. So Caleb, break it down. What did you see in this week's XFL, USFL that kind of caught your eye?
Well, there's a lot of football to watch. Couldn't keep an eye on every single thing. I had multiple screens going on, trying to keep my eye on at least some of what was going on. Um, I'll just wrap up on what happened in the XFLs. Obviously, their season came to an end. We got through 10 weeks of some XFL football. That's lasted longer, than the previous iteration lasted. So we got through a whole regular season there. Um, and to wrap up the divisions, we got the Roughnecks and Arlington Renegades, both in the playoffs. And then who came out in the North Division was the BC Defenders and the Seattle Sea Dragons. Now, I think the Battlehawks should have been in the playoffs, but in the way they do the divisions, they had a 7-3 record, same record as the Sea Dragons, but they didn't get in just because that division was tough. That was a better division in the
Mm-hmm.
XFL, and they were left out hanging. They came down to the fourth tiebreaker that they had to come down. It came down to between the Sea Dragons and the Battlehawks. Obviously, and then the Renegades get in there with the losing record. They only go 4-6, and somehow they're in the playoffs. But that's just the way everything kind of shut down. But you know, those are the matchups. In the final week we had, it wasn't too exciting of a week, because mostly it was like, good team versus bad team, and a lot of the matchups. So we got a lot of blowouts. We got 3 blowouts and one close one. Um, Obviously, DC didn't have any to play for at the time they were playing San Antonio, so it made the game a little more very close. Um, and I'll just wrap up with my team, Vegas Vipers, finishing 2-8. Not good. I think we were a better team than the record showed. I think we were in a ton of games, very competitive, but we were just undisciplined. Had too many mistakes. We always had like a quarter that they just completely messed up on and just gave the game away. And that was pretty much the season for us. And how every game went. And for your Houston Roughnecks, they had a strong start, bad
Mm-hmm.
middle, and then finished off
Mm-hmm.
strong. But throughout, I think what the most consistent thing was their defense. I think they had really good defense throughout the season. Um,
Wade Phillips, baby.
and yeah. So I think that, of course, Wade Phillips doing his thing out there. I think he really made their defense shine, and that's what shined for the Roughnecks. As far as individual players, Danucci and McCarron were the two top QBs of the league. Danucci had the most yards, and I think he had the most big plays. He had the most highlights type of plays that you saw throughout the season. And then McCarron, most touchdowns, best completion percentage. He was clutch. He was clutch in a lot of games throughout the season, coming down in the fourth quarter when the games, he really needed a play from McCarron. McCarron came through and won those games for the Battlehawks. And then a late surprise, two late surprises. Quentin Dormady coming out of nowhere. He had a little bit of a scandal that turned out not to be a
Yes, he
scandal, but
did.
he played.
Yes, he did.
He played well when he got in there for the Guardians, and he won the top QBs when he came down to it in the end. Didn't show up in the record, but I thought he played really well when he got his chances. And then another late surprise with Jordan Tamu did not have a good start. Obviously the defenders were led by the run game, but Tamu got better and better throughout the season, and I think he's going into the playoffs. I think he's really hot right now. And going to their DC's run game, Abram Smith, I thought he was the MVP of the league. I thought he led the defenders. The reason why they only had one loss. I think he was the main reason why. I mean, he just ran all over every single team. Had 791 yards, 7 touchdowns. He was the DC defenders to me. And so, I thought he was the MVP to me. We'll see what happens, who actually becomes the MVP, but that would be my pick. And then as far as receiving, Ja'Cory Pearson was a huge target for DiNucci. It was DiNucci's main target. 60 receptions, 670 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And then Hakeem Butler, big, tall receiver. This guy's got to get a job in the NFL because this dude is just a huge guy. He got 8 touchdowns. I mean, he's just a red zone threat. Just sign him up and just put him in the red zone.
Well, Caleb, he actually did have an NFL job. He was drafted by the NFL. Then he was drafted by Arizona, and it just didn't pan out. It just didn't pan out in Arizona, and then he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, well, I think he can get back. Like I said, just put him in the red zone, and then he's gonna catch a touchdown for you. Mm-hmm. I think he's proven that in his time in the XFL. For his defense, obviously, Roughnecks had two top 5 tacklers. They had the top sacker in the league, Trent Harris. So it's all Roughnecks when it comes down to defense. All their players were shown out big time throughout the season. But that's the XFL. Two good matchups going, and one better than the other. The defenders in Seattle is going to be a great game. Roughnecks, Arlington's third time they're going to play. We'll see how it comes. I think Roughnecks have been on the better end of those games. I think in the end it'll be Roughnecks and the defenders in the championship. And we've seen the defenders have beaten the Roughnecks, so I like the defenders to win it all. Obviously, that's the easy pick since they only won loss. But I mean, sometimes the easy pick is the right pick.
All right, Caleb. Now, are we done with the XFL? Are we moving on to the USFL?
Yep.
All right, hit me with the USFL because I know the Houston Gamblers are 0-2.
Yeah, we're not looking good.
Not looking good.
It's the same. We looked the exact same from last season. We haven't changed at all. We're competitive, but we can't seem to learn how to win a game. Last game came down to it was a 7-point game, and we couldn't do it. We can manage to win that. We had a bunch of chances to win to close it out. Couldn't do it, and we ended up losing. And that was a story all last season too, and it's just the same story this season. Another same story, Birmingham. They look awesome. I mean, they're killing it. They're smashing everybody. They're two monster wins. Had a huge blowout this past week. It was like 42-2 or something like that. They look exactly like they did last year, and they're definitely the favorites to win it all. Memphis, a new team, still trying to figure out, find its way in the league. Starting over 2, not good. Michigan, they look strong. They have strong defense, 2 strong performances. They shut down Case Cookus this past weekend, going against Philly. They look pretty good. New Jersey has a clear problem with offense. They're definitely missing Devontae Turpin because they just don't have a playmaker on their offense. And then they've been struggling to score points in the first two games. Pittsburgh continues to be the bottom dweller of the league. They're garbage. They were garbage last year, and they're garbage this year. They can't. They've been switching quarterbacks just in the first two games already, and they can't seem to figure out the quarterback position. That's what's failing them right now. And then the Breakers, they look really good. This is the other great team in the league, led by Bethel Thompson. Two great performances by Bethel Thompson, and they have a strong running game as well. They look great in offense. It's going to be really, really interesting to see between the Stallions and the Breakers who comes out ahead. But those are two lead dogs going forward the USFL.
All right, perfect, Caleb, perfect. All right, guys, we're about to do our mock draft, but before that, we actually did get some news on the Giants side. Giants signed today Ashawn Robinson to a 1-year deal, $8 million max. Ashawn Robinson, another D tackle that's a run stuffer, massive man who's gonna eat up space.
Is that say something to Dexter Lawrence saying like, okay, don't show up then?
No, doesn't, because they wanted him before the contract talk. Because Joe Schoen, when he tells us stuff, he blatantly tells us what he wants. Sometimes he said, "I'm gonna improve our interior defensive line depth," because he saw what happened against the Eagles, Caleb. When Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams were in the game, the Eagles didn't run it up the gap. They didn't really. They wanted to run outside. But Dexter Lawrence gets pulled out the game. They put Justin Ellis in the game. Caleb, what happened, Caleb? Eagles ran A gap 3 straight times. Depth, interior defensive line depth. He wants it. He yearns for it. He needs it. I think if a good receiver or a good a cornerback is not at number 25, Caleb, we're going defensive line. And I'll show you in the mock draft in a minute. So Ashawn Robinson is signing with the Giants as depth. Here's the thing, man. This is really more of kind of a Leonard Williams thing, if we're thinking about it. But they want to keep Leonard Williams too. They just want depth. They want Leonard Williams. They want Dexter Lawrence. They want Ashawn Robinson. They want Nacho. They want those 4 men to just plug up the middle. You will not run against us in 2023. That's what Joe Schoen wants, and he made sure to get his man. License plate. Shout out to license plate guy. He said it was the deal was kind of done back then because the deal was already said. But then Ashawn Robinson was probably shopping around a little. But then he came back to the Giants and accepted their deal because he wants to be a Giant. So there's that. So shout out to Ashawn Robinson, the new New York Giant, former Alabama standout, Ashawn Robinson. But now, Caleb, we're getting right into this, man. We're going to do our mock draft, first time ever. Good Friends, Better Rivals mock draft. So, guys, we are going to do to rounds 4. I wanted to do 7, but, we realized our depth of knowledge of prospects.
You could do 7.
We either 4 it is. We're going to go 4. We're going to do 4. So there's that. Now let me set it up. Sorry about that. All right. Let me share my screen. All right, can y'all see this? Caleb, can you see this?
Barely.
What do you mean barely? What do you mean barely?
Okay, now I can see it. I can see it.
All right. Okay, perfect. So GBF mock draft rounds 4. I'm not playing with friends because it's technically me. It's gonna be let's go fast. Manual, automatic.
Fast. What if I want to trade?
Okay, fine. We'll go normal. All right. Well, let's do this. Ready? All right. The teams are the. We'll have to find out, Caleb. Cowboys, Giants. It's still loading.
I
Boom.
forgot
All
my
right.
GM hat.
Well, we'll forget about it. All right. So we're gonna start the draft off right now. Draft has been started. Oh, all right. Boom. It's going fast and furious. It's going fast. Oh, we're on 7 already. Boom. 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 I think this hasn't been updated because Aaron Rodgers was traded today. So we don't
Yeah.
know if the Cowboy the
Oh,
Packers.
this sucks. I hate this
Oh,
already.
boom!
I hate
All
this
right,
already.
you
I
know
hate
what?
it.
I'm drafting him, baby. We're
Oh,
going with
yeah, I really hate it.
JSN. All right, Caleb, where we going? Where we going with the Cowboys? Where are we going?
Oh, well, you just took my guy.
Of course I did. Where are we
You
going, Caleb?
jackass you are.
What position? What are we doing?
What's left at D line? Go D line.
All right, let's do D line. Trying to find by positions though. Trying. Oh, here it is.
Up
D
there, it's
line,
right there.
edge or
No,
interior
not
D
edge.
line. Which one?
Interior.
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 All right. We have Maisie.
No, nothing
Wait,
looks good
Maisie
there.
Smith. Yeah,
I don't
they're
like that. I
ranked
don't like what I'm
61.
saying.
Yeah, you're not like what I'm saying.
No,
Uh,
corner. What's that
corner.
corner?
We're going to corner. We're going to corner. Jules
I
Bent,
don't like what I'm seeing there either.
Keely Ringo, Caleb. Man, we're coming down to a minute. What do we got?
Go receiver.
Going to receiver. Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers. What are we doing, Caleb? What are we
Okay,
doing?
go tight end.
Tight end.
Hold on, go tight end. I need to see tight end.
Darnell Washington, Luke Musgraves. Caleb, we're down to 45.
Let's go Washington.
Darnell.
You know?
Boom, drafting Darnell Washington. Oh snap! You drafted Darnell Washington. That's some wild stuff, brother. So we're coming down to our last. A lot of the picks in the draft, us and you are going to be together because we're kind of like
Yeah.
we bounced out in the similar rounds. So 58 to 59, we're still going to be there. I think this is playing. Oh, they took my center. They took him. So I guess I'll go. I don't need a receiver. I don't need a running back. I'm gonna go with Deontay Banks, cornerback, because I really wanted John Michael Schmitz, but I guess I can't get him. But now we're at the Cowboys.
We'll
What
go
do the
Zay
Cowboys
Flowers.
want? We're gonna go with Zay Flowers, receiver. All right. So now we're in round number 3. Let me see how many picks in round number 3 do I got, and how many picks in round number 3 do you got? We're gonna be sort of in the same area like we always said, because we got bounced in the divisional rounds. So pick 90 and pick 91. Boom, that's perfect. Oh, actually, oh, Nauma. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go. Ooh, this is actually a tough one because I really love Sidney Brown. I think Sidney Brown fits our defense, and I also love Daylon Henley. He also fits as well as DeMarvin Overshown as a linebacker trio. But I'm gonna go with Sidney Brown because I know he would be a perfect player for.
Okay,
Uh,
explain afterwards.
okay, let's go Sidney Brown. Let's go Sidney Brown. Now,
We'll go
now
Overshown.
Caleb
Overshown.
Overshown. It is Texas boy. Makes sense. Perfect sense. So now we're getting down to round number 4. It's kind of gotten the slim pickings basically. Not slim pickings, but kind of who's who of it. We've seen some quarterbacks. something like that. We got some safeties, we got some cornerbacks, we got some quarterbacks. Now it's 129. 129. I personally think we're gonna go Elias Ricks from out of Alabama, another cornerback to shore up that back end. Caleb, where are we going with your pick?
Bigsby.
Tank Bigsby it is, going running back. And that is the end of our first ever GFB. Let's go. Let's save this mock draft. Let's save it. All right. Now let me stop sharing. Let it stop sharing.
Well,
It's
can share
saving.
what we picked, right?
Now we're gonna. I'm gonna show us what we picked. But I'm just waiting for it to save, and then we'll talk about it. But Caleb, how did you like our first time ever doing this mock draft?
It was
It,
there. I've
it
never
kind of
done this. I've
it kind of
never done the mock drafts. Ever really. So it was cool to see how might play out. I don't necessarily think it's going to play out that exactly.
mhm.
Obviously, it's not going to play out that way, but it was fun. You know,
It kind of went fast. We kind of knew what we wanted
yeah, it
right
goes faster
away.
than I thought it was going to go.
Yeah. Let's go to. All right. So
Yeah,
now let's.
it didn't really give us a chance to make a trade, see what
Yeah.
each guy
It
was
kind of.
going to.
Yeah. It kind of went very fast.
Yeah.
So now Caleb, let's break down the your picks, your selections. You actually, in the first round, you went and grabbed the tight end that's ranked number 39 in the draft network board. Darnell Washington. Why do you like Darnell Washington?
I like I said, I talked about a lot of when we were going over the combine. I mean, he really showed up during that time. I liked all his measurables. I like obviously his measurables are incredible, and what he did there really proved to me that this is a guy that really shined. And proved to me that this guy, especially with the need of tight end, considering we got rid of Dalton Schultz, there is a spot there for him, and then he can come right in, make an impact for our offense. And Dak likes to throw the tight end. I mean, he has shown that with Jason Witten. He showed that with even a guy, just a random guy like Blake Jarwin, or and then into Dalton Schultz. He likes to throw to his tight end. So I think getting a big time tight end like that is crucial for this team because that's Dak's security blanket in any offense he's going to run, whether it's the Jason Garrett offense or going into what's his name, Kellen Moore's offense, and now into what Mike McCarthy's going to be calling. I think the tight end is crucial, and that's why I felt into take a tight end. As my first go, like I said, I was obviously I was going to position, not position, because I just didn't like what I saw there. If those other guys were there at receiver, but if a receiver falls, if Bijan Robinson fell, if any of those top kind of guys fell to the Cowboy or defensive line, one of those top defensive linemen fall to us, I would definitely would take those guys over the tight end position.
All right, then you followed it up in the second round by wide receiver Zay Flowers. Is it just because you need a
Yeah.
secondary wide receiver because the other guys aren't really showing up, like Michael Gallup and Jalen Tolbin and what's their faces, kind of like having a CD Lamb complement?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of a plan for the a draft pick for the future, showing that Jalen Tolbert did nothing for us last season. We can't count on him that he's going to turn out to be anything. So we need a young guy that we can develop going forward for the future because Brandon Cooks, gets traded after 1 year out of all his teams. So we can't say, oh, he's going to be here next year. There's no guarantee of that. So there's no guarantee we're going to have a second receiver. So if Zay Flowers can turn it into that, or any guy that we draft that receiver in, maybe a top 1, 2, round 1, round 2, round 3 pick, that can turn into a number two receiver. Um, that's going to be great for us. Like I'm just drafting because we saw that Dak had a problem with interceptions. I'm trying to get him weapons. You know, that's why my first two picks were tight end, receiver. I'm trying to make sure that don't happen again this year. Don't want that to happen. Want guys to be open like they weren't last year. I want him to have plenty of weapons, no excuses, everything he needs.
Mm-hmm.
So he ain't, that interception problem ain't gonna be a problem no more. And we're gonna go forward. We're gonna have a great offense, and we're gonna get back to the way Dak knows how to play.
All right, then in the third round, instead of offense, you went defense. You saw DeMarvin Overshown there. You picked him up. Why? Are you thin at linebacker? Do you want
Yeah.
more youth at linebacker? What's going on with DeMarvin?
We lost Anthony Barr. We didn't chose not to resign him. That's a big spot that we're missing there. We don't really have a lot of depth there. Jabril Cox has really not turned into what he thought he might turn into. He didn't really fell off big time in the second half of the year. So we need another guy there. We need another guy behind Van Der Esch or next to Van Der Esch. It doesn't matter which position you want to put him in. So I think he played great, filling that depth that we are severely lacking in the linebacker position. We got Damone Clark, we got Lane Van Der Esch, but we don't have much else after that.
All right, and then the final pick in the fourth round, you went Tanks Bigsby. Is it just because you got rid of Zeke and you need another power back that runs in between
Absolutely.
tackles?
That's exactly what I think Bigsby. I loved what I saw. Like I said, he was a guy that I was watching the combine. I said he looked really good to me. And that's the guy I was like, I would like to see that guy on the Cowboys. Like I said, power back. I think he's a great replacement for Zeke. I think he's the perfect replacement. Him, Roshan, those two, and Bijan. Those guys know how to take some hits and deliver hits, even at the running back's position. That's what Zeke used to do. So I think those guys. I'm really looking towards filling that position. And when I saw him in the fourth round, I was like, yeah, just take him.
All right, and so someone who's gonna love that pick, Justin, big Auburn fan. Shout out to War Eagle. So he really appreciates you taking Tanks Bigsby there. But now let's transition over to the other team in blue, the New York Giants. I think the New York Giants, man, this kind of fell this way together because Jackson Smith and Jigba falls to 25. He's right there. You snatch him. You snatch him right away. I don't care what.
I mean, that's what I wanted.
Yeah,
I wanted him.
JSN.
You just took him right one spot before me.
Exactly. So you get JSN. What can I say about JSN? He's the best receiver in the draft. I've been watching this kid since he was at Ohio State. I just go back to what he did to Utah in that Rose Bowl, Caleb. 15 catches, 350 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He is electrifying. Wide receivers from Ohio State nowadays, give it to me. I don't care what your name is, give them to me. There's a couple of wide receivers next year from Ohio State that are pretty good. Not just Marvin Harrison Jr., Caleb. There's a couple of others. Julian Fleming, Emeka Egbuka. Like there's 3 receivers next year that can also go in the first round. Then we had Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. They played with Jackson Smith and Jigba. So them 3 got drafted. Like it's becoming a wide receiver factory because of Brian Hartline. And what can I say about JSN? I want to slander his name so he falls. I want to slander him so he falls. Just like what they're doing with CJ Stroud. They're slandering him so he falls. So that's what I want, But it's not possible because GMs ain't that stupid. They're stupid, but not that stupid. And then in the second round, I really wanted to draft interior offensive lineman. John Michael Schmitz is what I really wanted, but he got picked before I could come up. So then I went to my secondary, which is corner. Deontay Banks out of Maryland, phenomenal corner. He's great press man, I believe. I don't know too much about him. I think he's about 6'2". I think. Let me double check him. Yeah, I believe he's about 6'2". He's a big corner, not slender. He plays with some aggression. Well, that's what I've heard. Um, and it's a great pick. That's my secondary pick. Like I said, Caleb, in the if wide receiver is not there in the first round, you go cornerback. You go cornerback. Yeah, Joey Porter Jr. Anybody that falls, you choose. And then we followed it up in the third round with a safety, Sidney Brown. Sidney Brown is a heat-seeking missile. He hits anything that walks. He's a part of that trio at Illinois. Him, Devin Witherspoon, and Quan Martin. Phenomenal trio in the back end. He's a Swiss Army knife that can. I think Wink Martindale is going to bring him in the box to blitz, can let him bail out and play coverage. He's kind of Wink Martindale's Swiss Army knife that I gave Wink Martindale. Then lastly, Elias Ricks. He was a top cornerback in college, coming out of high school, and he's still one of the top corners in this draft. The reason he falls is that he has little red flag issues. Like, I think he got arrested I think he got arrested at LSU, then he got arrested at Alabama, but he still played. And again, bolstering the cornerback position, bolstering it because you got to play man to man in Wink Martindale's system. You got to play man to man. There were moments where he had 6 corners, on the field playing various different positions, and giving him another coverage corner is the way I went. That's the way I really wanted. So that's why the board kind of broke my way, and I quite enjoy it. I quite enjoy it, Caleb. So Caleb,
Yeah.
now what's up, Caleb?
No, yeah, like you said, you broke your way. I didn't feel like it broke my way in the first round. Could have gone different ways. Like I said, I wanted some other positions. That just, like I said, it's just I think he was a big playmaker that fills a need for us. But it's not exactly the direction I want to go. Could have gone offensive guard, big need for us, or offensive tackle. Doesn't matter. Offensive lineman in general.
Mm-hmm. So no, it's okay. The draft is this Thursday. What do you think they target in that first round? What do you think? Because there's sometimes, man, y'all draft a center named Travis Frederick, and no one knows who the hell Travis Frederick is. Y'all make, and what do you think? What's gleaming out of what's going on with the Cowboys?
I mean, obviously, everybody would like to on the Cowboys, but one thing you can't deny, we draft well. Like, you can hate us all you want. One thing you got to say, we draft really well. You can go back all the way to 2010. We have a Pro Bowler in the first round almost every single year except for 1 year. I mean that just shows a record of drafting really good players. At least
you guys hit in the first round. You guys have a phenomenal hit percentage in the first round.
Yeah. So we draft really well. We get Pro Bowlers. Most of our offense is made up of guys we drafted. So yeah, we're really good at drafting in the first round. We get guys, especially drafting offensive linemen. I mean, we're drafting Hall of Famers. We're drafting Tyron Smith and Zach Martin and Travis Frederick would have been on a Hall of Fame run if he played longer.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go off the guard, even if it seems like a reach in the first round, I trust them. There's no reason why I shouldn't trust them, even if because last year is a perfect example of that. Everybody's questioning why we picked Tyler Smith. Oh, this guy could have gone later in the round. So he's a guy that holds all the time, and he all this and that, and then all the draft experts gave us like a C or lower or whatever for that first round pick. And guess what? He went, started as guard, went to tackle when Tyron got hurt, and dude just, played great. Like, he didn't give up too many sacks. His holding, problem kind of wasn't as I don't know how to say it. Showing as much as it wasn't showing up as much as it was in college. Wasn't really that much of a problem. He did have, a few penalties here and there, but nothing that Tyler Smith can
catastrophic.
Yeah. Exactly. So I mean, like I said, we look really we draft really good. So if we draft an offensive lineman, I think we're gonna be good there, no matter who we take. Um, and yeah, also Jerry likes to take a big name guy. That's just who he is. He likes to take that receiver. He likes to take the big name, maybe a big name tight end, big name corner. If a guy like that drops to us, or like if Ejon Robinson drops to us, then you know that Jerry might get itchy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Uh, we're coming down to the last bits. I think we've kind of briefly talked about all things. Kind of like this shows based on the mock draft. Um, then we'll do a draft. We'll do a video Thursday night. Detailing our reactions to the draft that night. But yeah, in the draft, wide receiver corner. Wide receiver corner, get an interior offensive lineman in the second round. That's what I want priority. Wide receiver corner, interior offensive lineman. You know, that's what I want because we need that alpha dog wide receiver and we need that corner to because either you keep Adoree Jackson. We had Fabian Monroe as a cornerback one at one moment. We need cornerbacks. It should be corner receiver, in my opinion. Corner wide receiver. We should go corner receiver as priority. So that's what I want Joe Shane to do. Go look at the corners who are there. If you don't like them, you go to the receivers who are there. If you like one of them, you pick them, and then you kind of filter through that. That's what I want. This is Joe Shane's second draft. His first draft was riddled with injuries. Marcus McCathan tore his ACL. Josh Azudu kept getting hurt. Wandale Robinson tore his ACL. Darian Beavers tore his ACL. Micah McFadden played on occasion. Dane Belton broke his collarbone. Our rookies kept getting hurt. So let's see if Joe Shane can draft a durable class that doesn't get hurt on crazy accidents and get hurt like breaking your collarbone. Health. I want health for these rookies who we draft. Health. So there's that. All right, Caleb. Any other thoughts on the mock draft, the draft this Thursday, and the Cowboys overall?
No, I mean, like I said, I trust the Cowboys. Will McClay does a hell of a job, scouting these guys. They have all the faith in the world. Then Will McClay is picking, and the Cowboys as an organization to make the right picks because that's what they've shown that they can do. We get random fourth round picks like Tony Pollard and Dak Prescott. So even in the later rounds, we hit on guys like that. So I think the same nothing different from this going in this year.
All right, I have nothing to say pretty much about the Giants because this is the second time Joe Shane's here. So I kind of have and his rookies last year all got hurt. So I don't know if he picked the right players because they kept getting hurt. But on that note, everyone, thank you guys for joining us. The special edition of Good Friends, Better Rivals on this Monday night. Our special mock draft episode. You guys know what we like. We don't like going over an hour. We like to keep it at least an hour under, and we're at almost 40 minutes, and it's perfect for us. You guys can find me and Caleb here every Friday, 3 o'clock Pacific, recorded or pre-taped is when the show has moved. As well as you can find just subscribe, man. Just subscribe to the channel. 95 subscribers. Let's get to 100. Shout out to all our audio listeners. Shout out to Spotify, Google Podcast, Radio Republic. Go to our LinkedIn tree, Anchor, you name it. Type in Let's Get Ready Network, the highlights, and we will show up. We got the hockey. We got the football, the world football. We got all this of betting. The NFL is going to come back soon. Just everything. Our fantasy football show is coming back. So make sure to watch out for those. And on that note, everyone, thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a wonderful night. And we will see you this Friday, 3 o'clock.
This Friday.